So if you're obsessed with your physical appearance to the point where you're trying to look like a certain type of person to attract a certain type of person, yo, that is a prison.
Mm-hmm.
That is a prison. It's a trap. It's a trap. Don't go.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Listen, we're here with Nicole. Nicole is the creator of Affirmations for Black Men. You do a lot of good, important work. I don't like calling people's platforms pages. So I'll say with your platform, I feel like it's very important what you're doing, which is affirming Black men, but more importantly, I think is also showing Black men that Black women actually care, which I think is very, very important because I think there's been like a big fracture in our community with Black women and men. And like, there's always like this divide on social media about who does what and Black men ain't shit, Black women ain't shit because they do this. And there's just all this like negativity. But I feel like your platform is like the complete opposite. And I love seeing that. I love seeing the intentionality. And we were just talking off camera about like you saying like how much you love my platform. I was telling you I was going to tell you on camera, right? So this is me telling you on camera, like trying to give you your flowers because I think it's very important what you're doing. I'm a fan of the work. I love the fact that you just unapologetically prioritize Black men because I know how hard that is and how much like Black you can get from so many different people for just prioritizing a demographic that's been overlooked for so long. You get what I'm saying? So with all that being said, this is going to be a classic. I'm happy to have you here. I hope you're doing well. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
No
problem. I'm so happy to be here.
No problem.
It's been a year.
It has.
Right?
It has.
It's been a year since we met.
Yeah.
And I felt like our conversation was so good.
Yeah.
The last time we talked, if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. It was awesome. But I've been good. I've been learning a lot, growing a lot, and just leaning more into what I'm doing because I don't think I realized how much of an impact I was making. Yeah,
it's hard to realize it. I think when you're on, like, at least for me personally, right? Like when you're on social media, you see the likes, you see the followers growing, all that kind of stuff. But it's like, all right, whatever. For me. And then until I see like people in person and then like I'm talking to people and they're like, yo, really love what you're doing. Really love the platform. I know you. Like I've had people stop. Like I went to an event and this guy like stopped me for a photo. And I was like, whoa, buddy. Hold on. I'm not there yet. No, like, no. And that's literally in my head. I'm like, whoa, relax, dude. Like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I walk down the street, I go get, what I need. I'm a regular person. That's how I feel. So I'm saying all that to say, like, at least for me, it's very hard to see the impact. But I'm hoping you're feeling like, or you're at least like seeing like people are actually being impacted by what you do and it's needed and it's necessary. So I'm happy to have you. I know you said you're happy to be here. I'm happy to have you. I wanted to ask you.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
I also want to give you your flowers for your content. What I really love about what you do is the vulnerability. Sometimes I know it can be hard to have your own personal life on display, but I feel like with your content, you connect with a lot of your followers because you really put your all into it. Yeah. And you give people the fullness and the realness of what you've gone through personally, which can be really hard. Right. I feel like I haven't dived into my personal as much as you. So I'm looking at you and I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Like I give the affirmations, but then, boop, we turn it off and we go back home into our lives. Right. But it's brave. And you've obviously been impacting so many people with it. So.
No, I appreciate that. I don't know. For me, I don't know. People tell me that. I was like, man, I don't know. And we'll talk more about this. I just don't be caring. Like, I got to a point with my life where I'm just like, everybody's going to have an opinion. And nobody's opinion matters except for my own and God's. So why should I care about what people on social media have to say about me getting cheated on, me having depression, me having anxiety, or relationship stuff, or whatever the case may be? I think that cripples us. And the point of the platform is for us, like, it's to get that messaging out. Like, yo, just get it out. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that's like really bothering you, talk about it so that you don't have to be bothered by it anymore. Like when I talk about being cheated on, nobody can come to me and be like, bro, you got cheated on, ha ha ha. I'm gonna be like, okay. It doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something that I hold on to, like, oh my God, please, I hope nobody knows about this thing. Because I let go of it. And because I let go of it and have the conversations openly, I'm free to just be myself. And I think that's the most important thing, is like being comfortable with who I am. And like I think that's what comes out on the platform, is just that level of comfortability that I have with myself. And I think that's what resonates with a lot of Black men, because we don't have those conversations. And I think sometimes when we do have the conversations about what we're going through, it can be from a real negative lens. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to like talk openly about like, yo, bro, I've been through this. I know you may be going through that. And it's okay. Like, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with it, because I think for so long we've been told like, yo, something wrong with you. You've been cheated on. Like, that means you're just not good enough as a man. Something wrong with you if you got depression. You not a man. You got anxiety as a man. Oh, you're not tough enough. You pussy. You know what I'm saying? I think all of that messaging stops us from just being ourselves and being able to deal with the things that we go through, because
it stops us from connecting with each other.
Exactly.
Look how many people you've connected with.
That's true
within
too.
your vulnerability.
Yeah, no, that's true too. That's true too. Man, listen. Nicole, we ain't even supposed to be getting in, man. I got a bunch of questions for you. We sitting here talking about platforms. Listen, look, I wanted to ask you, right? So the work you do, it looks like you put so much, like, I'm not even gonna say it looks like, I know you put a lot into it. How have you grown? Because you just talked a little bit about like you've grown in like the last year. Can you talk more about that? Like, how do you feel like you've grown from the work, from the platform as a person, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I feel like the most luckiest person in the world with my platform and all the support I'm receiving from my community. But specifically, where I feel the most blessed in the area of my life is that in order for me to project energy, the energy that I want to give into my community, I have to feel it within myself. And so one of the gifts of doing what I do is that, and especially I'm doing it on a daily basis. And so, not every day we feel the best to give in the way that I give and say affirmations to other people in a way that they could feel it, right? But I have to call in my energy and center myself before I give my affirmation. So I have to call in peace. And I have never experienced a Black woman that's been able to intentionally call in peace on a day-to-day basis. And so my servitude in serving and calling in peace and ease and understanding and empathy for a community of people, I have to feel it. And so I have in the past year, I was like, I've grown so much because every single day I have to be in an energy of, or I get to, I don't want to say have to, and I'm even correcting myself in how I'm talking, Right. I get to be in an energy of calm, peace, and centered, balanced lifestyle in order for me to do my job effectively. Right. And it feels so healing that this gets to be my everyday job. Right. What? Yeah. And it's expansive. Like you grow as a human being when you can be aware of how you feel and you're calling in that awareness. And I've never seen anybody in my family do it. I've never had an example on TV, on our phones of it happening. To see the image of a Black woman who is at peace and living in ease and love and acceptance for herself. And so I feel like, yes, I do affirmations for Black men, but I also want Black women to know that my affirmation for you is how I'm existing in that. And it's energetic.
Lord Jesus. Oh my God. Listen.
I came today with it.
Look. You already know. So with that being said, you talked about, you do affirmations for Black men, but your life in itself is an affirmation. Can you share what's one of your affirmations that you've done that you feel like has really positively impacted your audience, that they really engaged with, that they really felt? What's one of those? Do you have one off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, it's interesting because it's levels and layers to what the conversation we're having now. And one of the most impactful affirmations that got like 7,000 shares. Ours, the one that I did on the platform that we did really well as well. But my most viewed affirmation, my most viral affirmation was, Black man, you deserve to feel safe. And that right there was like the most powerful because I feel like maybe some Black men have a hard time expressing that they don't feel safe because in the expression of it, you can make yourself appear more weak.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're less safe because there's people who will take advantage of your vulnerability in that way.
Yeah.
And so hearing a Black woman tell Black men, you deserve to feel safe, and safe isn't just physical, right? It's emotional, it's financial, it's spiritual, it's mental. Safety is in the way that I'm talking to you, in the way that I talk about you, in my intentions for you. And it's levels to safety. And so many Black men, thousands, if not millions of Black men, have communicated through the engagement that they don't feel safe. And they're not alone in that.
Yeah.
So we got the vulnerability king right here. If you want to unpack that.
Oh, for sure. I was going there, so I appreciate the alley-oop. It's hard to feel safe here, like in the U.S. especially. I'll be very honest with you. When I walk outside, people are scared of me, but I'm scared of people too. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if I'm walking down the street and people cross the street, first of all, that makes me feel terrible as a person. I'm like, yo, bro, you don't even know me. And you're already like, I'm already perceived as a threat just because I'm walking, right? Like, can you imagine, like, my very existence in itself is a threat. So I know now people look at me as some type of threat. It's hard not to have a mindset where you're a little bit afraid because, like, yo, people perceive me as a threat. What do people do when they're threatened? Right? Like, we don't even need to go there, right? We know. So when you're walking outside, when that's your everyday existence, how can you feel safe? The only time we feel safe is when we're home. And even sometimes when we're at home, we don't feel safe because the people that are at home that are supposed to take care of us aren't taking care of us. Right? Some of us have moms or dads that are abusive, like whether it be emotionally or physically, right? So you really don't have a space where you're safe at all. And because you're a man, you don't even have a space where you can at least express the fact that, yo, I don't feel safe. You get what I'm saying? So you're dealing with not feeling safe, not being safe at all, and you don't even have a space to express that sentiment in itself. So what do? You get what I'm saying? What do you do? Right? So it's layered. And that's why, like, when we were talking before this episode started, I was telling you, you asked me, like, yo, where would you go if you can go anywhere? And I was like, Ghana. And you're like, oh, why? And I was like, because when I went to Ghana, that's the first time I was outside and I actually felt safe. And I had never experienced that before. Like, I've never been outside in an open area as a Black man, just existing, and felt safe and comfortable. Like, yo, I'm actually okay out here. Like, people don't look at me crazy out here. When I landed in Ghana, I'm going, like, we're leaving the airport. Me and my pops are leaving the airport. The customs agent, or like, you can think of her like as a customs agent, like that you see in the United States. She saw me. My dad was like, yo, this is his first time in Ghana. She was like, oh my God, welcome. Gave me a hug. Can you imagine landing in the US and a customs agent gives you you would be like, what the f-? You're like, back to you know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, back up. You know what I'm saying? But like in Ghana, that was like, yo, this is you family.
Welcome home.
Exactly. Welcome home. Right. And what did I say? You only feel safe when you're at home. So Ghana being home, that's why I felt safe regardless of where I was at, because it's like, yo, these are my people. So like, I'm saying all that to say, yeah, we don't feel safe, and we don't even have a space to express that sentiment in itself. And I think that's the reason why, like, that affirmation that you did, like platforms like ours are so important, because it at least gives us as Black men a space to say, yo, I felt that, I feel this way, and this ain't okay, but how do I like deal with it? And I'm also seeing other people that are like, yo, I feel the exact same way. So now I feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. You get what I'm saying? I'm not crazy.
And I'm not alone.
And I'm not alone. And I think that's the main thing that a lot of us are looking for is like, yo, I don't want to be alone in my experience as a man. Like, I think man, you got me in my bag right now. I ain't gonna lie, Nicole. You really got me in my bag deep right now. Like, I'm gonna ask you some questions, but let me just get this.
Yeah, unpack it.
Let me just get this off real quick, man. Like, a lot of us, like, we grew up thinking like, man, it's important for us to do stuff by ourselves. Like, we gotta do everything by ourselves. You know, if you don't do it by yourself, you're not a man. If you don't go through stuff by yourself, you're not a man. But it's like, as I got older, I realized that is such a flawed mindset. Why do I have to do everything by myself? Why do I have to experience everything by myself? Why, when I'm going through a difficult thing, do I have to go through that thing by myself in order for me to have this badge of honor of like manhood and masculinity? Like, there's something wrong with that mindset in itself. And I think a lot of it has to do with us not trusting and feeling comfortable with other people. And if you don't trust people, if you don't know when you're at the extent of yourself, this is why I talk about this so much. You're going to always think you can do everything by yourself. That's why it's so important for you. Like, that's why I tell black men it's so important for us to have a spiritual relationship. So we know what it's like to receive, and we know what it's like to rely on someone, something else, another being, to actually provide for us to be the ones that are actually finally provided for. You get what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us don't even know what that feels like. We're not even comfortable with that idea in itself. And so we shun it. And we go straight into like the unhealthy masculinity that we've been dealing with that's plaguing our society, that tells us that, yo, we got to do everything by ourselves. And if you don't do it by yourself, there's something wrong with you. You get what I'm saying? And I really want us to let that go. Like, that is like one of the main things I want black men to let go. I think if we would all just let that go, let that one ideal go, like, yo, you got to do it by yourself, and you can actually rely on other people, I think we would be a lot better.
I think that the people who feel like they can't rely on others have relied on others and have been let down.
That's true.
And
talk about it.
You know, like it comes from a source, a traumatized place where there was someone that you needed to trust, there was someone that you needed to depend on, and they didn't show up. And then so now it feels more safe to not rely on anybody. If that's your source of safety, you're telling, you know what I mean? Where you're asking people is to kind of throw that away.
That's very true. You know, and that reminds me, because I've had experience like that before. I was in a relationship, like my relationship before this relationship that I'm in right now. And I was like, yo, I really mess with this girl. She's cool, everything, you know, like I really, you know, potentially we could probably do something. And we in a relationship. I'm doing long distance. Mind you, long distance is tough, bro. Like, you doing long distance, it's tough. So I'm doing long distance. I'm doing my hardest to stay faithful. Like, I'm telling myself, you're not going to cheat, mess with nobody else. Like, I'm staying committed. And then to find out, like, I got cheated on, right? Like, that was a big, like, moment for me, because it made me realize, like, one, you can do everything that you think like is necessary to create and cultivate a healthy relationship, but that doesn't mean that the other person that you're with is going to reciprocate. And you have to be able to identify that while you're dating. Two, it made me feel like I couldn't trust women. And so that was the point I was trying to get at, is like, I know what it's like to go through something and it shifts your reality in a way that you feel like, yo, I can't trust people no more, because, yo, I trusted that person and they did me like that. Hell no. People are grimy. So I've been through that, but I think it's so important for us to like identify when we're feeling that way and work towards like healthy alternatives. Because what I did in that moment was I had a negative or like maladaptive learned behavior, which is I got cheated on. My learned behavior is women are evil. Specifically, black women are evil, right? Like, that's the learned behavior. Like, if we boil it all the way down, it's black women are evil. Because my thought process was like, yo, there's no way I do all of this. I stay in a committed relationship. I'm staying committed. I do everything I need to do. I'm not cheating. I'm not violating. Like, this girl was throwing herself at me, and I was like, nah, I'm good. there's no way I did all this and then you ended up cheating. What? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, women gotta be evil. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was driving my thought process. And I think if we can just identify like, yo, these are the negative learned behaviors I have as a result of trauma, and then start to unpack the trauma, we can start to get to the place where we're like able to receive what we actually need. Because, yeah, man, like you can't go through life just feeling like you can't trust anybody. It's just not, like, especially as a man, like we've been doing it, so we think like that's the way. But it's, I personally don't want to have that. It's not helpful for me. It's really not helpful for me.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's
truly.
lonely.
It is. It's very lonely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. There's a lot of men right now that probably can relate that are like, yo, man, they hitting some points right now. I know I'm gonna get a comment. Somebody, nah, seriously. I know I'm gonna get a comment on YouTube. Somebody's gonna be like, yo, I'm only like 10 minutes in, bro. Y'all cooking. I already know. So for the guys that can resonate, that are feeling like that, I can't trust people. I feel alone. You know, I have to do things by myself. What do you feel like are some things that could be helpful for them?
For the lone wolves.
Yes, the lone, exactly. The lone wolves. Yes.
The lone wolves. Oh, man. I think that if you have a trusting relationship with yourself, I think it's important to understand that you can have that with somebody else, right? The awareness and the belief that what you want wants you and that it exists and it's worth fighting for. And when I say it's worth fighting for, I mean like, I told this to my cousin Bernard.
Okay.
He's been feeling, I'm sorry to say your name.
It's okay. We can take it out. We can take it out. Do you want us to take it out?
I think he'll be fine with it because I'm going to be general as possible. But he was going through a time in his life and I was like, you know, your life is worth fighting for. Like what you want within a relationship and within your career and within your health, like that version of you is worth fighting for. Being in that space is worth all of the hardship. It's everything. It's life, you know? And to block yourself from that, you know, you think that that's easier, but it's not. It's not. And it's the best part of life is love. The best part, it shows up in food. It shows up in the stories, our connection. And to not give yourself that is to live in your own personal punishment because of what someone else did to you. I don't know. Couldn't be me.
Listen, no, you absolutely
couldn't be me.
You are you absolutely right. You absolutely right. And when you really start to think about it, like it's like I'm literally letting somebody else stop me from living my life. Like that's really what it boils down to. I'm letting somebody else or an experience that I had with somebody else stop me from living my life. So not only did that experience rob me of however many years or whatever it did, but now it's robbing me of even more because I'm holding on to it in the form of the negative behavior that I've learned or like the way that I've changed because now I feel like I got to be this hardened version of myself. Like I see it all the time, man.
You're punishing yourself for what someone else did.
No, truly. So let me ask you this, right? You do affirmations all the time. For the man that doesn't understand the importance of affirmations, why do you feel like affirmations are so important, especially for like Black men?
That's a great question. What I want people to understand is that you are constantly receiving messaging every day in the thousands. In every interaction, someone is communicating something to you energetically with a look, crossing the street, on your phone, on TV, on the magazine, with pictures. And your subconscious mind is so powerful. And so if you aren't doing anything to combat that messaging as a Black man, you are going to be steered in a different direction, in a negative energy, in a negative frequency. And it's going to be a cycle that you don't understand what's happening. But for the past 20 plus years, you have been told that you are not good enough because of X, Y, and Z, or that you aren't deserving of loving treatment because of X, Y, and Z. And you are going to live in that reality that other people have created for you because it is to their benefit to keep you at a level. Affirmations are empowerment. It empowers you to see who you truly are, and to communicate that to the world and to yourself is extremely important. And to have a place to stand on that you create.
Right.
That, you know, it's your subconscious, you're training your subconscious mind to love yourself.
Right. What you said is the most important thing.
Yeah, it is.
Why is it important for us as Black men specifically to love ourselves? Like, I know there's a lot of men that are like, oh my God, I hear the love myself thing all the time. What the hell does that even mean? Like, why is that even important?
Wow. It's a deep question.
It is, yeah.
So, like, I mean, you're living in a world that doesn't love you. Some of us are living in a family that doesn't know how to love us. So some of us don't even know what love is.
Right.
So to love yourself is to discover how you want to be loved by giving yourself that type of treatment, right? So when I go to the hairdresser, I did my hair today myself. Yeah, I did.
Okay, love it.
Thank you. And I stopped going to the hairdresser because I didn't like how they were pulling on my hair. I didn't like how they were touching me, you know? And I started loving myself even more and realizing that they were damaging my hair because I was getting my hair done by people who didn't care about me. I'm interacting with people who don't care about me on a constant basis. I wasn't even conscious of it. Right. I had friendships with people who didn't care about me because they didn't care about themselves, and I wasn't conscious of it. You know, and that was shaping my life. It was shaping how I felt about myself. And so the more that I gave myself the affirmation, and it's really just being in gratitude for who I am today and what I have and the people around me, the more that I intentionally did that. And it's really important that it's intentional. It's like you're going to the gym. Right. You know, and a lot of us haven't started that journey at all. So you know, wherever you are in the spectrum of that, you might think that you love yourself, but tell yourself that you do every single day for a year. And you might look back a year ago and be like, damn. Damn. I thought that this was love, but I had to learn what love is by practicing it with myself. To even acknowledge and see it around me, or maybe even see sometimes that it was never there. Ooh, but you know, do you?
You know that Lil Wayne meme? You know the meme I'm talking about, where he's on some podcast and he's like saying, "Ooh, listen, you're cooking right now." I wanted to ask you. You kind of touched on it a little bit. I want you to go a little bit deeper into it. For a man that's like on the earlier side of the spectrum, that hasn't really got too deep into his healing bag, that doesn't really do the loving himself thing, that doesn't really know what that is, how would he get started? Whether it be with like affirmations, loving himself, what would your advice be for him?
I think understanding how you like to be loved is really important. So understanding your love language. If you don't know the 5 love languages, you can Google it and look it up. But if one of the ways that you love yourself is words of affirmation, not everybody's is words of affirmation. Right. That's not everybody's love language. Right. It's my love language. So I do it for myself, but it's not everybody else's. Right. Some people's love language is actions. That's a love language. And so it's also my love language too. So one of the ways in which I love myself is I try to make my life easier for my future self. So to love me is to love my future self. And so I will do little things like, okay, in the morning, I want to make my life easier by putting my alarm on something soothing. Sometimes I'm jolting myself awake and it feels like anxiety inducing. But now I'm going to wake myself up with some bird sounds and some melodies to give my future self something to look forward to. And I can wake up and look forward to the day. I think that would really help me out. And it has. And I'm always thinking of ways to look out for my future self as a form of love and expression for myself. Little things like that.
I love that. I love that. So you learning how to love yourself, like through your love languages, has helped you to better your life, because you're like, okay, cool. If loving myself is like taking care of my future self, I'm going to do these certain things to take care of my future self. It's so interesting that you said that, because I literally think about that in the form of, I just did a solo episode where I was telling Black men, like, yo, you got to be proactive. You got to plan. Like, you really got to take time and understand, like, how do you set things up for yourself to get to where you want to be. And one of the things that I was mentioning is that's very important is everyone talks about morning routines, but I think what's more important is your night routine.
Yep.
Like, truly, honestly, like, those who know, like, if your night routine isn't right, like, you honestly are setting yourself up for a bad morning. What I mean by that is, like, in my mornings, I like to have a smoothie. I like to, go through the Bible, then I get into everything else. I'll go to the gym and Bible, get into everything else. In the night, if I don't make the smoothie or I don't wash the dishes, then in the morning, I also have to make the smoothie. I have to wash the dishes, clean the kitchen, put the things away, on top of all the other things that I have to do. So now my morning feels so much more stacked because I didn't do a good job at night. And I think that's a great example of, like, taking care of your future self. Knowing, future me is going to need this, this, and this. How can current me make that easier for myself? Man, I'm so glad. Nah, seriously, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because Black men can, like, we can take a lot.
What episode is that?
That was, I just released it, so it was 105.
Okay, comment below if you know the episode.
Yeah, yeah. So it's one of those episodes where I did an episode by myself, just kind of talking through some things that I wanted to talk about.
That's dope. I actually have a nighttime routine too. Like,
you do? Okay, put me on. What's up?
And I love how you said washing dishes, but I want you to get deeper into it. Like, I have a towel warmer.
Okay.
That's been hitting.
Okay.
I have like a candle routine. That's really dope. And then I really got into like light ambiance.
Okay.
Because, some lights are really harsh. Yeah. And so I started feeling like the energy of just like lighting. And so like a light ambiance and then scent. So I tried to, like, in loving myself, like, and so you get deeper and deeper into it because you can. And then you know how to love someone else even more deeply, right? And then start getting to scent, sounds, feelings, like warm towels and things like that. So it's fun.
You're cooking. Listen, my girl told me about the warm towel thing. She had sent me like some Instagram thing where, like, there's a towel warmer. Might have to get that.
It's worth it. And I can never go back.
You can't go back?
Oh, the towel's cold. Like, once you... Ooh, I need that. Like...
Nah, that's jokes. That's jokes. Nah, that's crazy. I might have to... Yeah, I'm getting, I used to think when I hear stuff like that, like, oh man, people bougie. But I ain't gonna lie, I might be a little bougie, man. I might have to get me a little towel warmer. Yo, I might have to get that for real. Because I'm thinking about it, like, I just think I haven't done it before, but I think it would really be dope.
Because you haven't been told to prioritize your relaxation.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. It hasn't been a priority. Nobody's told you to make that a priority. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be your priority. Your relaxation as a man needs to be your priority, because if you have such high stress, you need to have a high release. And sometimes we can have releases in ways that are unhealthy, but there are healthy ways to release and feel de-stressed. And so finding out those outlets for you that aren't too expensive, those daily things to look forward to. You had a long day. Open up that towel warmer, throw some essential oils on it, get you in your shower, you can get some eucalyptus, and just take a deep breath. Release.
Man, I feel better already. I ain't gonna lie. I might have to hit the Amy up and go ahead and get me a little towel warmer, man. Get it sent to the crib. Cause I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that because, listen, man, especially building a business, and not even just building a business. I was just talking in general. As a Black man, listen, life can be exhausting sometimes. We have a lot of stuff that we be doing, and you're so right. We don't get no one's telling Black men, like, yo, relax, just chill. And when I found sometimes when I tell Black men to chill, like, there's like an adverse response to that. Like, bro, you telling me to chill? I got all the shit I need to do. What the fuck you talking? Like, we get mad because it's like, we don't even know. And it's anger because we're not even sure what that means. What does it mean to even chill? Like, what does that even mean?
Because when someone's telling you to relax, there's a negative connotation associated with it.
Exactly.
Yo, man, relax. Like, it's like, it's not like, hey, come over here. I want you to relax.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to experience relaxation. I want you to experience that every day. Make it a daily habit. You know, and no one's, when we tell them to relax, it's like for you that you're having an emotional response and people are telling you to relax because they don't want to listen to you, or, you know, they don't want to hear whatever it is that you're feeling. So they want you to shut down. Relax in our community is associated with it shutting down your emotions and not associated with the other things that we were talking about.
No, you're so right. You're so right. People do use that as a way to invalidate and shut down in response to a Black man opening up. So you're absolutely right. I think like where I was going was more so around like sometimes when I tell men, oh, you have to find time to rest. Like that was the one actually. We talked about that the other, like maybe a couple of weeks ago, men finding time to rest. Like sometimes men would just be so opposed to that because we're just not, like we're not sure what that even looks like. What does it mean to even rest? Bro, I don't get rest. I don't get sleep. I'm always working. I'm always doing something for somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I think what you said about making it a practice, that's very important because when you make it a practice, it's like, okay, cool. You're telling me to rest. I already have that set out. I know what that looks like. I know what it looks like for me. I know what I need to do. I have the time to do it because it's a priority for me. And I think that goes back to what you were saying to begin this whole segment, which is just prioritizing it. And we just don't have enough of that messaging. We don't have enough of that messaging. Man.
That's why we're here.
No,
that's why we're here.
Absolutely, man. All right, I'm interrupting this podcast episode to let you guys know to leave a review on the podcast. Please, 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 if you are listening to this episode and you're finding value in this episode, you're enjoying the conversation, or you've enjoyed a previous episode or conversation, and it's safe to operate your phone right now, please leave us a review. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute out of your day to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand the platform even further. So please take a few seconds out of your day. I know you're busy. I understand. I know you're doing a lot, but it will help us greatly if you would just take a few seconds out of your day to leave a review right now. Did you leave a review yet? All right, let's get back to the episode. You know what? One thing I wanted to talk about too when it comes to affirmation, I was just thinking about this when I was downstairs. I was just like, yo, every time we talk about affirmations, I think it's important for me to tell the story about why affirmations are important for me. Because when I was younger, I really thought I was like ugly, like like truly. I was looking at a picture of myself downstairs. This is why I was thinking about it. Because I was looking at a picture of myself when I was like 5. And I'm like, yo, I was a cute little kid. Like, why did I think I was ugly? I know that now. But back then, at 5, 6, 7, I used to think I was like the ugliest kid in the world. Like, truly. And it wasn't until I started affirming myself as I got older through therapy and talking to, my therapist and creating a practice of it that I started to feel comfortable with my appearance. Because I remember this one time I had a therapy session and my therapist was like, I need you to go in the mirror and just tell yourself you look handsome. I was like, man, fuck that. Let's continue this session. How you talking about, bro? I got shit I need to talk about. You getting cheated on and shit. You talking about go tell yourself. Let's talk about shorty that cheated, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling her like, I'm good. Like we don't need to do that. Mind you, I don't think I got a cut at the time. I'm wearing whatever. And so I'm not feeling like him, So I'm like, nah, we good. But I realized like, yo, you can't do that. Like, it's not that you don't want to. It's you can't. Like, I can't. Like, it's uncomfortable to the point where I can't even fathom doing it. Going into the mirror and telling myself I'm handsome, I can't do that. That's when I knew I had a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I hadn't been affirmed. It wasn't a practice of mine. Like, and I think that's why I grew up having that self-confidence issue, that low self-esteem, which makes it hard to make friends. I think it kind of spiraled me into like social anxiety because I don't feel comfortable with myself. How can I feel comfortable having a conversation with you? I don't know how to perceive myself. How the hell do I know how you perceive me? Right? Like how can I stand confidently talking to anybody? So it led to like kind of like social anxiety. I feel like it spiraled into all these different things because I wasn't affirmed. And the message I want to give is like, yo, it is so important for us to affirm ourselves now, but even more important, I think, for us to do it with children, with the people in our families, like the ones that may not have a practice of doing it. Like for the moms, the dads, uncles, aunts, whoever that are listening to the episode, you got somebody in your life that's a young child that is not getting affirmed. You know they're not getting affirmed. Make it your duty to do so. Because, bro, I'm telling you, as one of those kids that grew up, I did everything I needed to do in school. I didn't have no problems in school. I was getting all good grades. You would never know there was any issues. Because I would come home, people ask me, oh, how was school? Oh, it was good. But I was getting bullied, bro. Like I was getting bullied about my skin, how I looked, what I wore. And I didn't get affirmed at home because my parents would ask me, how's everything going? I'm like, I'm good. So they're thinking everything's cool. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a space to like express what I was dealing with because I would just be like, I'm good. But really, I wasn't good. And I didn't know I wasn't good until I got older and I was able to like really understand, like, nah, bro, it ain't right for you to think like you're ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the right, I shouldn't have that mindset. I don't care how you look. You should not grow up thinking like, nah, man, I'm butt ugly. Everybody should be confident about how they look. Because sometimes I see people, I'm like, listen, that ain't my cup of tea, but listen, they confident as hell. I know they're going to find somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I think that level of confidence, having that confidence, especially as a man, everybody should have it, but especially as a man, with all the things that we deal with, we have to have a certain level of confidence. We have to walk with a certain level of confidence. And I think affirmations are one of the quickest and most important ways, like, of getting there. So that's, again,
yeah, absolutely,
why I love what you do, because it's so important for us to hear it. And I think for me, especially like coming from what I came from, where I had dealt with that like negative relationship, like seeing Black women like that are just like, yo, we love Black man, love yourself, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm like, yo, listen, we here.
Let's go. I actually had a similar experience to you.
Word?
Yeah, where
Okay.
I didn't think that I was beautiful growing up.
Okay.
Or I was like a chubby kid, and then I grew up in all white environments. And so I was seeing myself through their perception of us and of me. So, and I don't think people realize like the power of perception of like a group of people perceiving you as a certain way. Like there's been studies done, like you put a group of people in a room and one person says it's green, but if everybody else says it's blue, that person is going to conform.
Right.
Like they have psychological studies on the power of that. So like how you were saying how you were bullied about your skin and same. Like I was bullied about not feeling pretty, about being too big and not being smart. They thought that I wasn't smart enough and all these different things. And I had to reprogram my mind and how I felt about myself. Because when you feel ugly, you stop taking care of yourself. You stop, you get depressed, you get down, your energy's low. And then your external reflects on how you feel about your internal, and then it just becomes like a cycle of bad energy. And everything around you is just proving you right about how you feel about yourself. And so the moment that I affirmed myself, the moment I started affirming myself consistently, my internal started glowing. And then my skin started glowing, started taking care of my hair. My hair started getting healthier. My eyelashes started growing, my nails started growing. And it's like the external started reflecting how I felt about myself on the inside. And it started attracting everything I wanted.
Man, the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm thinking about myself as a kid, bro. I used to go to school and, bro, I never like comb my hair. I wouldn't brush my hair. People be like, bro, you got stuff in your hair. You got like lint in your hair. I would just be like, it's decorations. And I would make fun of myself.
Wow.
Truly. I would make fun of myself before people had an opportunity to like make fun of me, because I was at that point where it's like, yo, bro, you getting bullied so much, you might as well like
Give up.
You might as well give up. You might as well do it yourself. And that's why I became like so for lack of better words, quick-witted. Like I'm very quick with a response. People hit me with something, I got something right back. Because I know, like when I was younger, I was always waiting for somebody to say something to me about something. So I was always preparing responses to the point right now, like I don't need to prepare a response because that's just how my mind works. I always have something prepared because that's how I was growing up. So man, like when you talked about not taking care of yourself, I was like, damn, like that's probably what I was going through when I was that age. I used to call it decorations, but it really was just me not taking care of myself. I knew I needed to comb my hair. I had a comb at home. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew what I needed to do. I just didn't do it because I felt like, yo, listen, you ugly anyway, so who the hell cares?
And you were in an environment that didn't take care of you.
Right.
So you didn't believe that you were worthy of care.
Man.
It's deep, you know?
Man, little me, man. That's why, bro. Oh my gosh. I also have an affirmation. I put affirmations on my laptop. I have like a set of like, I think 7. And they like cycle throughout the week. So I see a different one every day. There's one affirmation that says, Black man, little you would be proud of you. And I love that affirmation so much because it always brings me back to a place of gratitude for everything that's going on. So regardless of like, yo, this thing ain't work out, these things ain't work out. When I see that affirmation, Black man, little you will be proud of you, it allows me to think back to myself when I was like 5, 6, 7, and I had all these aspirations and things I wanted to do. And I used to see 25-year-olds or 27-year-olds or 30-year-olds. I'd be like, damn, like, I wonder what I'm gonna be doing when I'm that age. And now I'm that age, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm doing some dope stuff. Like, if there was a 5-year-old version of me and he saw me right now, he would actually be proud. You know what I'm saying? So it gives me that space to like practice that gratitude. I think that's so important, is like us being grateful. Like I've had a lot of stuff that's happened over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, where things just haven't fallen the way that I want them to fall. I never say things don't fall. I try not to say things haven't fallen the way they should anymore, because I don't know what they should fall like. Only God knows, right? So I say that they haven't fallen the way I want them to fall. And so there's a lot of disappointment attached with that. It's like, damn, like I wanted this thing to happen, they didn't happen. I wanted to do this episode with this person, they flaked, you know? But what I was telling Maria, my assistant, we were just having a conversation today. I was like, yo, bro, I'm not going to get into that mindset of like, oh my God, I feel so bad for myself. Like, why is this happening? Why are these things not falling the way I want them to fall? I don't do that anymore, because it's like, bro, everything is aligning the way it should. And as long as I stay in tune with God and the plan that He has for me, things will happen the way they should. That's why I do not, and I always emphasize this when I can, I do not force things with people. So like, I don't force episodes. I don't force business relationships. I don't force partnerships. If I got to remind you, it ain't it. And we live in this culture where it's like, yo, you got to make sure you're reaching out to these people and making sure they know that you're, nah, bro. If you're not just as excited, like if you don't pull up and you just as excited for the episode as I am, it ain't right. And the way you get people that are not in tune with you is by forcing things. When I force my way into a path, eventually God's gonna be like, okay, cool. You wanna go there? Hey man, I'm trying to stop you, but this is where you wanna go. You have free will. Go ahead. So I know when I'm forcing myself into something, I'm going against what God has already aligned for me. God aligns things for me and they're free flowing. I don't need to force. And once I feel a little friction, things ain't lining up, meetings are taking too long to schedule, and availability is not matching, and you ain't got, oh, this is not happening, and I got all these excuses. Once I start seeing all these, like, there's always little like yellow flags, red flags that you see when things are not right with a person or partner or whatever the case may be. Once I start seeing those, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I let go because I know if I continue to try and push that thing to happen, it will happen, but it won't happen in the way that I'm imagining it will happen, and God will humble me. I've had it happen so many times. Go and work with a partner. I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't know. I don't really like how they doing things. And there's a lot more friction in this involved than when I worked with other people before. And I'm saying this because we talked about like where you're going. So I think it's important. Like you hear this. Like there's a lot more friction involved with this specific partner versus the other partners that I've had. And I'm like, damn, but the bag is there. That money do look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, woo, that money do look good. You know what? Fuck it. We gonna go that way anyway. And I'll force myself into it. I'll remind them. I'll make sure we have the means. And God will let me do it. And things will go smooth. So it seems. And then eventually, things come crumbling down. And it's always a reminder for me, like, yo, this is why you don't force things. This is why you do not force things. Because when you force things, you start working with and putting yourself in positions that you're not even supposed to be in. Even if it feels good, seems good in the moment, it's forcing you out of alignment with where you should be. Man, I ain't lying, seriously.
What? That's secure. You have a secure attachment. Because people who try to force things, that's an insecurity. They feel a lack. When you know and you trust God to continuously provide you with abundance, and you have that trust, there's no lack. What's mine is mine. What's not is not. And it's protection. I'm being divinely redirected.
Right.
Do I want to see what's behind that door after you told me no? Absolutely not. Because every time I did that and I was stubborn, and I opened that door, it was some...
Yeah, I got punched. Yeah. They invited me in.
Damn.
But then they punched me.
Right.
Nah, that's really how it feels. Like, it'll end up working out, so it seems, and then you'll get punched. And I'm just tired of getting punched. So I'm like, you know what? I seen that door before. I'm good. Like, it don't make sense. It does not make sense at all.
That's a good one.
Man, I want to ask you about, like, I wanted to talk more about relationships. Then we got into all this. Like, I'm telling you, you got me in my bag right now, bro. I haven't been in my bag like this in an episode for a long time, bro. You got me in my bag right now. So let's get back to the relationship stuff, because I really want to ask you about, like, what do you feel like are some of the biggest things that specifically like Black men and women deal with when it comes to like cultivating healthy relationships? Like, what are some of the biggest blockers or like negative influences that sometimes make it hard for us to be in healthy relationships with each other?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Please. My two most serious relationships were with white men.
Okay.
And I told you that because I told my community online too. From when I was 18, I told you guys I was in an all-white community. I was the only African-American girl in my class. And so my first boyfriend was from that school. We dated for 4 years all through college. And then my second boyfriend was from out of the country, I told you, from Montenegro. And we broke up when I was 26. Yeah, so I'm 29 now. And we broke up because his community was like, no, he needs to stay within our community. And that's something I never even knew about or experienced. Being from the Black community, we don't really try to keep ours. We're like, yeah, you can go wherever. So I was just like, oh, wow, this is interesting. There's a community that said, nope, we want to maintain our traditions, our values. We want our language, our culture. And then so from there, I've been dating Black men exclusively for the past 2 years. And I would say the biggest, and I just came out of something with somebody like a couple months ago. Okay. And the biggest thing that I think we experience as Black men and Black women is a power struggle. Biggest issue.
No, I'm going to ask you.
Biggest issue.
Now, Nicole. Nicole, come on now. You know I'm going to ask you to go a little deeper. You know you got to go deeper there. Because I know where you're going, but I need to hear it. I just got to hear it. Please put me on. Put me on, Nicole.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my perspective, and then you go and tell yours.
Yeah, okay, of course. Okay. Of course. Mm-hmm.
From my personal perspective, I think that we as a community have a thwarted view of power within itself. And so a lot of us think that money is power. And then some of us think that, what is it? The P word, pussy is power. Like sexuality is power. Sex is power. And then I was dating in Philly, for example. So like just the city that I was in. And so a lot of people, especially in the inner city, like money and sex, that's people are consumed by that.
Yeah.
But that is not real power.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how some people will use, like women will use sex to control men. Men will use money to control women. And so I think it's interesting to see that power dynamic within our communities, happen. But what I will say, what is true power, is mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, right? And if you can grow within those areas, all the areas, because everything is important, not just one, you can become the most powerful version of yourself, and you will attract those surface level things like automatically. Like if you are spiritually powerful, emotionally and mentally powerful, and you're physically healthy, there's nobody you couldn't have. There's not enough money that you couldn't make.
Right.
There's not a lot of people who are operating from that space.
Right.
But it's, on a personal level, I feel like the person that I was dating was really lost in just the physical and just wanted to like be in the streets because that was fun and that was a release and that felt powerful. And I think for a lot of Black men too, a lot of Black men don't really have a lot of safe spaces, like we were saying before, where they can feel like, I just want to get my mind off things. This is the one area in a sexual relationship that I have with somebody else where I can get my mind off things.
Yeah.
And so, like you take that away from me, what do I have? I don't have no power. Where's my power? And like for women and men, and it's also money too. You take that away from us, we don't have no power, but that's not true.
Right.
We have so much power. So that's kind of a little bit.
Ooh, man. So you said you want to hear my perspective. So I'll speak from my perspective. Like when we talk about relationships, if we talk about like traditional relationships, a lot of us as men have been taught that we are supposed to be the leaders in a relationship. So when I think about power and power dynamics, power struggles in a relationship, it goes back to what you were saying about money. For us as men, like if we're in a relationship with a woman that's like secure financially, some of us can like really, like a lot of us don't know how to operate in that. Like we don't know how to operate when a woman is like good, because we've been taught that our value lies in being valuable to someone else. And how we know to be valuable is to provide financially. Like that's all we know. So if I can't provide financially for you, I feel like, oh shit, you don't need me. I can't even fuck with you. So that's why you see a lot of the rhetoric online where it's like, if a woman is like educated and has a lot of things going on for her, men will be like, oh yeah, we're not messing with her. We good. Like there'll be a lot of like negative stuff associated with her. It's like, bro, what? Isn't this what you want? Don't you want a partner that's like on her shit so that you guys can both build together? But when you have that negative mindset that's influenced by societal views on what masculinity is and what it means to be a man, which is really just providing financially, but there's so much more to it than that, like you mentioned, then it makes it very difficult for you to find that healthy relationship because you're always trying to prove that you're actually valuable by providing money. And there's a lot of insecurity in that because it's like, yo, if I don't have money, I ain't shit. That's why you see, I do a keynote where I talk about like the 6 different dimensions of wellness, where we talk about spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, social, and financial, right? The 6 different dimensions. What I always tell men is like a lot of us get caught up in the financial. That's all we care about. Get to the bag. The bag is the most important thing. I don't care if I'm overweight. I don't care if I'm depressed, anxious. I don't care if I have friends. The bag is the most important thing, right? But when we talk about those other things, overweight, that's physical, depressed, mental, emotional, not having friends, social, right? Like, but the financial is the most important thing. So everything else, I don't care about. I'm not dealing with that. I got to get this money. And then we get the money and we realize because we don't have the other 5, we fucked up. I got bread, but now I still feel like poop because I actually have not done anything to cultivate these other aspects of my life that are actually, now I'm realizing now that I have the money, these are actually important. I have money, but I can't walk up a flight of stairs without being out of breath. I have money, but I have no friends around me because I didn't spend time working on my social health. I have money, but I'm depressed and burnt out because I did everything I needed to do to get into this job that now works me 60 hours a week just so I can say I make 6 figures. Is that really worth it? Is it really worth it? Probably not. But if you're telling a black man right now that doesn't have bread, yo, bro, don't do everything right now that you can possibly do to get to the bag, he's going to look at you like, are you crazy? And that's not what I'm saying. Like, a lot of men perceive it that way. They're like, oh, you telling me not to get to the bag? No, I'm not saying don't get to the bag. I'm saying get to the bag, but understand how to prioritize these other things as well as you do that. Because you're going to get the bread. Like, money, you're going to get the bread. It's going to happen. It's going to come. But when you get that money, are you going to be able to sustain the lifestyle that you built? Are you going to even want to sustain that lifestyle? Because if you're working 60 hours a week to make that bread, is it really worth it? How can you bring somebody else in, which we all know is very important, having a partner? How can you bring a partner into that? How can you spend time investing in a relationship when all you do is now work? You get what I'm saying? But because you think like, yo, I got to get to the bread, this is the most important thing, you've now made that a prison for yourself.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
and it's just really shallow. Like, it's a really shallow life to live. If that's what you value over everything, you are going to only attract the people that value that. People are going to be around you. All you value is money, so you're going to attract people who all they value is money. All you value is how people look, and that's all you're going to get. And there's so much more. I feel bad for anybody who's in that right now. I feel bad for you because there's so much abundance in these other areas that are actually fulfilling,
right?
And that are endless. Like, spiritually, if you invest in your spiritual health, it's an endless journey of feeling spiritually fulfilled that only magnifies and can get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. It's so much fun. Like, and then emotionally, to feel like baggage just being like lifted off of you and you feel more free and to feel lighter is also an endless, amazing journey.
Right.
And, I heard this one basketball player on a podcast, and he was like, he's like, I was traveling and then I come home and then I play house and then, I give her what she wants and I just can't wait to go back on the road. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that want that. But I'm like, your every day, your life is filled around people that you don't really want to be around. You don't even want to be in this beautiful house that you paid for and manifested. The energy is off and you just can't wait to go on the road and hang out with random people.
Yeah.
That's not the life.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
There's this saying called breaking yourself into jail.
Damn.
A lot of black men are breaking themselves into jail. Like, they don't realize. They think like, okay, cool, I'm gonna get the bag and then I'm gonna be great. Like, once I get the bag, and you breaking yourself into jail. You're gonna get the bag and now you're gonna feel imprisoned by the lifestyle that you created. And you have no idea how to get out of that.
Damn. And let's do it in terms of black women.
Right.
Let's spin it around too. Because like for black women, we can get caught up into breaking ourselves into a prison of only focusing on the physical. So we have on the one side where it's only focused on the financial. And then on our side, we can trap ourselves into, we have the BBL trend, trap ourselves into nose jobs, like the hair stuff, and being so obsessed with how we physically look so we can attract the man of our dreams who wants us for the physical, and he's not concerned about our spiritual health. He's not praying for us. He's not praying over us. Like, so he's not asking me questions, or he's trying to peep where I'm at emotionally. He doesn't care about my emotional health. So who am I talking to? Who am I going to become with this person?
Right.
Who am I? How do I communicate myself? And like, I don't think people realize how much work it takes in these other areas. Like, it's okay to invest in your physical for sure. Like, you want to be as healthy and you want to feel as beautiful as you want to feel for sure. I applaud that. But like, all that other stuff is a lot of work, a lot of work. So if you're obsessed with your physical appearance to the point where you're trying to look like a certain type of person to attract a certain type of person, that is a prison. That is a prison. It's a trap. It's a trap. Don't go. Wait, don't do it. And before you know it, years and years and years go by. And you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, my spirit as a woman is not a safe home for the man I'm trying to attract.
Damn.
I'm not safe.
Listen,
but cooking. Don't come for me.
No. They can't. They know it's true. We know everybody that's listening to what you're saying, we know it's true, right? And they're having the conversations at the barbecues and the locker rooms anyway, so we good.
Okay.
Man. One of the things, since we talked a lot about what we're not doing right in relationships, I always like to spin it and be like, okay, what can we do? So with that in mind, what can we do? Maybe you can talk from the woman's perspective and I could talk from the man's perspective, or you could do both, or whatever one you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
What do you feel like we can do to like cultivate healthy relationships?
This is a good question. And everyone's answer is going to be different.
No, for sure.
For me, what feels healthy to me is, I think I touched upon it in the beginning, is I want a relationship that is worthy of protecting. I want to feel like I have something to protect. That's really important to me. And I want the other person to feel that too. And I know that protection can only enhance and advance the more that you care about what you have and the more that you cultivate it. And I want to be with someone or have something that we understand and know is only going to grow in its beauty. And we're both equally invested in it becoming and feeling more beautiful. And it's also endless journey. Like, a lot of people haven't even started or aren't even on that road or don't even understand. I think people have this mindset that in relationship, as the years go by, it gets worse. You get jaded, you get bored, but that's the mindset. That's your perception. I wouldn't be with anybody like that. I want to be with someone, I want to cultivate with someone that understands that we can just become better artists for each other and treat our life as art and treat our home and our energy as art and invest in each other.
Ooh, I like artists. Ooh, that's good. I like that. Artist. I'm about to tell my yo, babe, you an artist, babe.
Yeah.
We about to cook something up.
Nice.
I really like that.
Let's have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Let's have something to protect with our let's protect it.
I like that. Because when I think about artists, I think about if I'm going to extend the analogy, your life is a canvas and you really paint what you want.
Yes.
Think about all these vision boards that people do and all these different kind of things. That's essentially what we're talking about here. It's okay, what is your vision? What is it that you want? You can create that with your partner, right? And I think that's why it's so important to get with somebody. Going back to what I was talking about before, I was talking about, I want to retire my girl. I do, right? That's something that's important for me. But it's been very important also during this period of me building that she also has something stable for herself right now. Because I couldn't imagine right now while I'm building now, I got to take away bricks from what I'm building to now give to you. And so I'm saying that to say, it's important for you to have someone that is aligning with where you guys want to go as a collective, and for you guys to have those conversations and know, like, okay, cool, this is our canvas, this is what we want from life. How do we get there? I want to retire you. Okay, cool. You're working right now. That's great, because that's going to give me enough time to be able to build this thing up to where I need to build it. So when I'm able to get it to this point, like, okay, cool, then we can talk about how we get you out of that thing. And if I'm not in a place where I've planned things out and understand where I want to go, and if we haven't had those conversations as a couple, it makes it that much more difficult for us to cultivate something healthy, because we're both going in different directions based on what we individually think. So we may have canvases that are two separate canvases. Our backs are against each other, and we're just drawing our own separate thing. Then we turn around and we look at it, we look at each of our canvases, and we're like, oh shit, you drew something completely different than what I'm looking for. And I think oftentimes a lot of us get in relationships, and because we don't have these intentional conversations when we're dating or early in a relationship, we end up staying in something for like years, realizing like 2 years, 3 years down the line, like, oh wait, you want to go over there. Like, oh nah. Fuck no. Like, I'm not trying to do that at all. Like, I remember in my last relationship, like, my ex wanted to be in Baltimore. And I was like, no, I'm good off that. From New York.
Shout out Baltimore.
No word. Shout out Baltimore.
No shade.
No shade. No shade at all. I don't want no beef. Don't pull up on me. Don't pull up on me when I'm in Maryland and try and tell you say you ain't like Baltimore. Nah. That's not what it is. Listen, I love y'all and the dudes and the twos and whatever the hell else the accent is, but listen, I wasn't trying to be out there, right? That's the main point what I'm trying to say.
That makes sense.
Seriously, right? And so...
And then you have some people who want to manipulate your painting or say that they want one thing, but they really want another. And it's like, you got to sift through that.
Yeah. Talk about it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think that, again, it's like the insecurity where some people don't feel like, they feel like they have to manipulate in order to get what they want, and they'll hide their intentions. And then so you have to kind of sift through, if you are dealing with a secure person, and there's certain questions you can ask, and you not ignore red flags, and it comes about within the first couple months, easily. And you can't get so caught up in looks, and you can't get so caught up in fantasy. Like, you have to be in the real world, how a problem that you have right now in this season of your relationship is going to be something that may or may not persist. Are you okay with that? And, as we're building our canvas together, there's so many intricacies that go into it. Like, how do we handle our arguments, our disagreements? Does it feel better to give each other space, to pray together, to meditate together? Like, and on top of that, Black man, do you believe that, your vision, your wants, your desires are even attainable in a romantic relationship with a Black woman? You're not even painting because you don't even think you can paint, or that if you do try to paint, it'll work out. So your belief, your internal perception of being able to be an artist in your own life could also be the thing that's hindering you from receiving those things.
Man, listen. Did I tell you about our tradition on the podcast? I don't think I told you.
What?
When somebody cooks, like you're cooking, I always take a little break, because I want people to have enough time to like really digest what was said. And I've done it a couple times. We took a little, what I'm saying, I'll do my woo, and we'll take a little break, but I haven't told you the tradition, because I think it's important to tell you, because they need to like really like listen to what you're saying. Like, this is what I'm telling you. Listen, this is a collab. Bruh. I just have what I'm saying? Like, before the episode started, I called it. So I'm just gonna say, I know what I be talking about. There's an energetical, there's an energetic thing. I think energy is very real. And I think it's so important for us as men to get in tune with energy.
Now you cooking.
No, seriously. Oh my God.
Now you cooking. What?
I'm serious,
though. If people knew that the beauty that you could be obsessed with could also be a trap, the prettiest face could ruin your life if the energy is not right. Like our obsession with these surface level things could be your downfall as a man.
Right.
If you don't get in tune with energy.
Oof.
What? And the only reason why you're not in tune is because you grew up in a chaotic family. And so you don't even know what it looks like to have a peaceful, energetic state or relationship with somebody. You've never even felt it. You don't even think it exists.
Right.
You don't even know what to want.
Right.
And so it's like, that's why self-love is super important, because you can harness this energy within yourself and recognize it within yourself and call it in within yourself, like kind of how I do with Affirmations for Black Men.
Right.
And then so when you recognize, it's like, I see it. Okay. I can have it because I embody it.
Right. Let's just take a second, Nicole. I got some things I want to say, but we're just going to take a quick second, man, because Lord, oh my God, did they need to hear that? Because I'm telling you, bro, I say it all the time. I really hope like people are listening when I'm saying this. We got to get in tune. I talk about God a lot because it's important. Like, bro, get in tune, bro. And I'm not one of those people. I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't know every verse in the Bible. I can't throw a verse out for every situation. I don't even know most of the characters in the Bible. And I'm saying this to say, you don't have to be that type of person to be in tune. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying that because I don't want men to feel like, yo, bro, okay, you just got to tell me I got to go to church every weekend. I got to know David and Goliath and all these different characters. I don't got time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. It's great if you want to get there. Sure, go right ahead. But you don't have to necessarily be there. You can go read the Bible and learn. You can go write down in your journal, like, okay, cool, I'm going to read this chapter and do takeaways from it. That's what I do. What I do is not special, but it has helped me a lot. And I'm saying that because when we talk about energy, I've gotten so much more in tune with energy from just prioritizing my spiritual relationship with God. Now when I prioritize my spiritual relationship, I'm in tune with people's energies. I'm like, okay, yeah, they on some fuck shit right now. Like, nah, I'm good. That's crazy. Nah, that feels crazy. You ever walk into a room and you're like, niggas just arguing? Somebody just arguing here or some shit? You didn't hear anything, but you energetically
You ever walk into someone's home?
Right. You get what I'm saying?
And you're like,
woo!
Sheesh, it could be a mansion. We could be sitting up on the beach and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, that spirit.
Yes.
That spirit. And I love that you brought God into it. I pray before every affirmation. And then I even connect to God using nature. My mom was a pastor, but I don't go to church. I don't know every single word in the Bible like you either.
Right.
I connected with God through prayer. And I don't just ask God for things. I thank God for things,
right.
And I have a line of communication with God,
right.
Because when things are, going on in my life, I ask for understanding and discernment. And there's like a knowledge bank, like an information bank that God will drop some knowledge on you. And sometimes he'll speak through, events. You'll ask God, oh, I'm not sure about this person. Let me know what's up. And then 2 days later,
boom.
Boom. Oh,
shit. Like, oh.
He talking back. You'd be like, what? This can't be real. And then the occurrences keep happening. You're like, oh, shoot. Okay. Okay. And then it becomes real. And then you feel special that you have that relationship.
Yeah. Man. Oh, my gosh, man. Man, you cooking right now, bro. I could take this conversation so many different ways. This is a good episode. I ain't gonna lie. This is a really good episode.
Yeah.
What you just said really reminded me of some of the times where God will speak to me. I'll ask him something and he will clearly give me an answer. And I think when people say, oh, God don't talk back, or I pray and I don't hear nothing, it's like, bro, you're not. In order for you to receive, you have to be open to receiving. You have to be ready and willing to receive. And you have to not like go against what you're getting, right? So like, for example, There was one time I was praying about like relationship stuff because like relationship stuff was like rocky. And I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. What should I do? And I'm reading the Bible at that time. I keep getting scriptures with things where people are going through periods where they need to go through periods where they have to be patient. I'm like, God, if you tell me to be patient right now, I'm not trying to hear this shit right now. So, fuck no, I'm not being patient. So give me another verse. And I go through, I get another verse, and there's patience in there. I'm reading the verse, and I'm getting patience, until the point where it's like, all right, cool, God, I get the message. Then finally, now I'm getting verses that don't have to deal with that. So you telling me, like, God speaks to us through so many different things, whether it be, he can use anything. People, experiences, social media, so many different things, but you have to be open to receiving what he tells you, because oftentimes what he tells you is not going to be what you want to hear. I ain't want to hear, I got to be patient.
That's the one right there.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God, no, buddy, right. I'm not trying to be patient right now.
Right. It's because it's not you.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. And for me, God speaks through me through like actions. Like God will be like, there's this one, I've been celibate for like a while now. Mm-hmm. And then there's this one moment where I wanted to break celibacy. Mm-hmm. I'm on the street having a great evening with this one day. Mm-hmm. We've been talking for 6 months. I'm like, God, I think it's time. Tonight is the night. Tonight is the night. Oh man, God, thank you. I'm done with it. And immediately a girl walks by. Mm-hmm. He drops my hand. Boom. Mm-hmm. And immediately after I told God I'm ready, literally it manifested in real life. Literally within 2 minutes after I had talked to God and told him I'm ready, a situation that made me realize that I should not be doing nothing with this person right now. He done slapped me in my face in the physical world. Was like, yeah, nah, you're going to have to head on out.
Oh,
you're going to have to head on out. I was like, dang.
I wonder if, I wonder if he knew. Like, not God, I'm talking about the guy. Like, I wonder if he was like, I wonder if he even knew, like, damn, I just messed up. He probably didn't. He probably didn't even realize.
Oh, no, I told him.
Oh, you told him?
I told him. I was like, oh, you saw somebody and then you dropped my hand. And he was like, oh, and we were holding hands the whole evening, even around my friends. It didn't seem like it was a problem. And I wasn't the one holding, you grabbed my hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not initiating, that type of contact. And you dropped my hand when you saw this one girl who he knew. And he was like, oh, and try to like kind of dance around it. And he said, oh, I just don't think we're there yet. He just said something stupid. I'm like, you acting like I was like,
yeah, he wasn't prepared.
Yeah, he wasn't prepared.
Yeah, buddy.
He knew, he fumbled. He's like, oh, so you gonna come? Yeah, I'm gonna head on out.
Yeah, you fucked it up.
I'm gonna head on out. It was not, I'm headed. He's like, yep. And we might as well not talk again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
He fucked that one up.
Yeah.
We not there yet? Come on, buddy.
Mm-hmm. But it was God saying, you not there yet.
No, true. No, nah.
You're not there yet.
Yo, that's crazy.
You thought she was there.
That's crazy.
You're not there yet.
No, right? Truly though. Yo, this is what I'm telling you, man. This is what I'm telling you. I tell black men all the time, man, gotta flow. If it's not flowing, you feel like you gotta there's no way in hell I'm out with Naima. Granted, we in a relationship now, so it's different.
Even when we
was dating though, you know what I'm saying? There's no way in hell I'm out dating with her and I'm around people and I'm like, no. Ooh, I got a topic. I got a topic for you, Nicole. Oh my gosh, I got a topic for you. Oh man. So, I was talking to Naima the other day. And I was telling her, I was like, yo, one of the things that I know I have no issues with is when I show somebody Naima, I know for a fact that elevates their perspective of me. Truly. I was telling her that. I was like, yo, I know if I show somebody you and I tell them what you got going on, what you're doing, automatically, as a man, they look at me differently. You get what I'm saying? And she was mentioning to me yo, sometimes that women are very like competitive, and that sometimes women will want to do something like with me specifically because they see the way in which I treat her. And so I wanted to ask you about that because I was like, yo, that's kind of crazy that because I talk positively about my woman and my girl, that women are like, oh, now I want to get at him. Like, that's, yeah, like, because I'm competitive with her, or like, I want to be treated the way she's treated. And she was mentioning, like, yo, one of the things that women will say when they beef with another woman, like, is, that's why I fucked your nigga. That's a real thing that if that's happened, they'll mention it because for them, that's like style points or whatever the case may be. So I want to ask you, like, from a woman's perspective, what's your perspective on that? Like, because that just came to my mind as I was thinking about that. Like, yo, something like, is that a thing for y'all?
Yeah, it's happened to me. Like when I was dating one of my exes, my first boyfriend, he was a football player, had a Mercedes, you know, his family had like oil fields, and he would shower me in roses and flowers and like drive hours to come see me. And there were women throwing themselves at him, and then would, you know, he ended up cheating on me, and then would end up rubbing it in my face.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and DMing me screenshots like, got him.
What?
Yeah. It's like, yep. And it's like, there's some women who like to feel like that's how they feel like they got one up on you. But to me, I'm like, oh, you can have him. Like, if you can have him, I don't want him. Like, you know, like he's not mine. Like, that's not a flex. Like, you're just living in a certain energy, and you're insecure, but you might have actually saved me from wasting more time of my life. Like, again, this is protection, you know, this is divine redirection.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. A beautiful, you know, magnetic, amazing woman uplifts her man in every single way, especially when she's healthy.
Yeah.
And other women can feel that, and especially insecure women, they will do what they can to drop poison in that. But, you know, some men will fall for the bait, but then there's other men that know what they have and understand it. Yo, if I mess with you, you know, and you in that energy, I'm gonna be in your energy and not over here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's not adding up.
And then even like to add on to that, like for me, I don't even think about it like that. It's not even about I'm gonna be in this person's energy and not in Naima's. It's more so like, yo, bro, you know how hard I have worked, bro. People don't understand. I know people think they know me from social media, but bro, they don't know how much work I have put in to make sure Naima and I are where we are right now. You get what I'm saying? Like the amount of work that I've done on myself, the amount of work that I've done inside of the relationship, before the relationship, you know what I'm saying? It's so much stuff. So you're telling me I'm gonna put all of that work in and then throw all of that away for some random shorty? Fuck. No, buddy. Hell no, bro. Like, hell no. I'm not. So that's what always goes through my head is like, nah, hell no. I work too damn hard to get to where I'm at right now in my relationship with a dope person for me to throw that all away over some shorty that's competitive or may look good or whatever the case may be. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good off of that.
It's temptation.
Yeah.
And I think what people don't understand too is that we are the most powerful when we are together healing and supporting each other, especially in romantic partnerships and in family and in community. But there are things and, you know, environments and people that are going to try to tempt you away from certain people, away from your path, because they know how powerful you will be
if you stay on
the path with this person.
Right.
And so there's things that are going to try to, oh, but you don't want this over here. This is more shiny and da-da-da-da. And if you are, you know, a weaker version of yourself in that moment and that gets you, and that'll set you down a completely different path. And so you are protective, which is what I was going to before, of your relationship.
Right.
You are protective of what you have built.
Right.
And you will only get stronger and you will only manifest everything that you want, having that type of love and support with somebody.
No, absolutely. And one of the things I wanted to mention too is that this doesn't mean that I don't get tempted, because I get tempted. So I don't want men to be sitting here thinking, oh yeah, bro, he good, like he got a good girl, like bro, I'm a man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Everybody deals with temptation, right? And oftentimes, I said this before on the pod, is like oftentimes it'll happen when things are not necessarily going the greatest in your relationship. Other doors, I don't want to say doors or opportunities, like distractions will pop up, right? And it's important for you in those moments. That's why I talk about God so much. Listen, look, stay prayed up. You get what I'm saying? Like, stay prayed up. Because if you're not prayed up, the distraction pops up and you're like, ooh, hold up. I think I might want to mess with that. And you lose sight of the perspective that I have, which is, no, I've worked so hard to build this, right? So you have to remind yourself, but you also got to stay prayed up. Like, bro, it's very important, because there's going to be times where you deal with temptation and you are a weaker version of yourself. So what do you do in those moments? Do you stand 10? Do you stand on business? You feel me? Or do you actually fold to the temptation that you're dealing with? And I think it's so important, bro. Like, you're not going to get tempted when everything's going great. Let's just be honest, right? The devil is smart, right? We got to acknowledge the devil's smart. You think the devil's going to be like, yo, they got all their defenses up right now, I'm going to go throw some temptation?
They happy right now.
Yeah.
They doing great.
Yeah. Oh, they good right now. Let me throw some temptation. No, he's going to be like, oh, they fucked up, right? Oh, yeah. Let me set my biggest hitter right now. He like, whatever he like. You like BBW? He got BBW lined up. You like small petite woman? We got a small petite woman lined up. Then they in your DMs. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be mindful, bro. You have to be mindful. You got to know when it's the devil. So sometimes certain things will happen, and I'm like, oh, I peaked. And I'll laugh, and I'm good. Because I already know, because I'm operating on a higher frequency. And it's not all the time. I'm just saying certain times when I'm really in tune with what God has me doing, like, I'm like, all right, cool, I know that ain't it. You get what I'm saying? So, like, you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful. You have to be prayed up. And you have to know when and how the devil's going to tempt you. And you'll know if you stay in tune with yourself, like, yo, you know you like a certain thing. You know the devil know it. The devil know what you like. You do. So if that BBW hitting you up,
yeah,
chill. Just chill, bro. Just relax, because things will get better in your relationship. And even if they don't, you always have the opportunity to say, you know what, this is something I don't want to be in. And then you can go and dive into whatever else it is that you want. I'm a big proponent of that. Like, yo, if it's not working for you in your relationship, bro, don't be in that. But don't be in a relationship that's not working for you. Stay in that because you want the security of that, and then also cheat because you want to feel that level of freedom or excitement or whatever the case may be. Make a decision.
Absolutely. And I think people need to understand is like there are consequences to what it is ever that you're doing.
Right.
And it's not just to the other person, but to you and your path. If you are not an honest person, you will not be living the life that you are meant to live. Your whole life will be based in dishonesty. And you think you're getting one up on other people, but in reality, you're tricking yourself out your spot.
Right.
Everybody, like we all have a kingdom available to us that is with our higher selves and our higher family and abundance of a community that loves us. Like it wants us, but it wants us as the version of ourselves that is honest and that is respectable and that is genuine. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like this perfect person, like, you know, and like pretend like you don't struggle. Like you're so open and honest, like, yeah, temptation still comes for me.
Right.
You know, like that's so human and beautiful. So you also have to just like be honest with yourself, with your partner, with your family, with your community, with where you're at, know who supports you and surround yourself around the people who can support you and just try your best.
No, absolutely. I want to ask you too, there was something you mentioned like a few minutes ago, and then we started talking about this temptation and stuff, which I think was important. You talked about like women uplifting men when they're in relationships with them. And I wanted to dive deeper into that. Like, what do you mean by that? And then also, how can women do that? And how can we as men receive that? Because I think sometimes we don't receive it the best if we haven't been in that type of situation. So if you could just expand on that a little.
Women uplifting men. I feel the most uplifted when I'm with someone that's, has their heart in everything that they do. When I feel inspired. And when I am chasing the healthiest version of myself, not just for me, but for all the people around me. And I think that's a way you can uplift people, is by being the example of you and being the healthiest version of you for everybody around you. That is right there. Like, that is to be a testament, to be a testimony. I think that is a way that is uplifting to live life like that. And then also just being like super empathetic. Like, not everybody wants to be on all the time or is in this high moment all the time, And I think a way that you can help someone feel uplifted is by saying, hey, look, like, you don't, I see all parts of you and I still love you. I see that you can be petty. You're having a petty moment. Sometimes an uplifting feeling can just feeling loved in, your human moments can be everything.
Yeah. Woo, man. That's so true. Like, because when you're going through stuff and you got someone that's like, yo, bro, I know you're going through some shit right now and I'm cool with it, it makes you feel like, okay, I can breathe. Especially as a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going through depression or like anxiety or like my bro just did something foul and I told you about it, like, I don't want to hear, man up. I don't want to hear, bro, why you mad about that? I want you to be like, okay, babe, like, cool. And I'm here. Like, we here. I'm here with you. It is what it is. I know you're going through something. I'm here with you. And I think that's what so many of us are looking for. I'm glad I found that, because Naima does that. When I'm when I'm going through something, I know if I tell Naima, she's not going to be on some crazy shit. That's why I feel comfortable talking to her. But I also understand, like, there's other men that have been in relationships where they will talk about something and then it's like it's being thrown back at them. Or it's like it's not received in the right way. And so now they don't feel comfortable. So what advice would you give a man that's like in a situation like that? That's like, he's never really found someone he's felt that level of comfortability with, but he's looking for that. He really wants, because I know a lot of guys can relate to that right now. Like, I've never found someone that I really can feel that level of comfortability with, where I can really talk about what I'm dealing with and know that they got me. How does he find that in a relationship? What would you say are the steps that he needs to take? And you may have already mentioned it. I think you have, but yeah.
I mean, I think we both would agree. You find God. Like, and then you find his children. His children are holding themselves to a certain standard.
Right.
And holding themselves accountable for certain things. And those are the types of people, that are more likely to protect you than people who do not hold themselves accountable, or people who do not hold themselves to a standard. So seek God and his children.
When there's no standard,
there's no standard.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
You accept anything, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And, don't just go after God to be around his children and then fake it and then not really feel it within yourself.
Right.
Because then others, we could feel it, you know?
Yeah, we know. We're like, all right, buddy.
Yeah, we gonna rush you out. All right, bro. Keep going, bro. But I really seek God. Like, look how beautiful the world is, man. Like, it's so detailed. Like, in the cells to the cells in our body. Like, everything was made so you could have this experience. Something somewhere is invested in you for some reason or another. And you don't know when your last day on this earth will be, but you know that, like, life is alive and it's magical and it's happening right now around us, whether you like it or not. Everything, like, this is insane. This world is insane. And there is like a connectivity that you can have that opens you up to a world of possibilities and safety and protection and love and community. Just lean in, try it, you know? And if it's not for you, man, like, it's not for you, but like, with a genuine heart, just start talking to God, because that is the only relationship, at least for me right now, that I know I could rely on 100%.
I'll take a little pause, Nicole. By now, you know the tradition. So I don't need to explain to you why we're taking a pause. I knew it would be a classic, man. I feel like there's so many things that we've talked about, and we still got some things that we're going to talk about. There's so many things that we talked about that I was like, yo, this is some good stuff. My editor's going to have their work cut out. Because the reels, Nicole, the reels.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many. Mic drop.
The reels are going to be cooking. The reels are going to be cooking. They're going to be spicy. Man, I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to cause a little discourse.
No, absolutely.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Listen, look, we got to have these conversations openly and honestly and like respectfully. I think that's the main thing, because sometimes we'll have open, honest, and disrespectful conversations. That's not where we're going. Like, we got to have respectful conversations. And I don't think anybody can watch this episode in its entirety and say, oh, they being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Or they're trying to cause a ruckus or whatever the case may be. I think we're both being honest and open. And that's all anybody can, ask. And that's all I really try to do on the podcast. So I appreciate you, sharing this space and creating a conversation that we can, like, I think people can look back on and really feel like where we're coming from, but then also have insights on what they can do to better their situation. Because that's the main thing that I'm trying to do. Is like, yo, this man is here. How do we get this guy from right here where he's dealing with bad relationships, breakup, getting cheated on, whatever the case may be, not trusting people? How do we get him from there to where he envisions himself being, right? Because that's like what I did in my life. I was in college. I was like, man, I'm depressed right now. I don't like this. I hate this. Like, this is not it. And I took that time to like really do the introspection and really understand, like, yo, this is where I want to be. What do I need to do?
Who do you need to be?
Who do I need to be? And then those are the hard-hitting questions, because it's like, oftentimes when we ask ourselves, who do we need to be or what do I want to do, we realize that where we are right now isn't enough. And as a man, it's very hard for us to come to the realization that what I've done or where I am right now isn't enough. And that's why a lot of us will run from ourselves. It's like, I don't even want to ask myself where I want to be, because I don't even want to come to the realization that I haven't done enough.
And I think the worst part for me was of my journey, of the reason why I like delayed my own growth, was because I knew the closer I got to me, the further I would be from the people around me.
Nicole, Jesus.
That was hard.
Explain
that. That was hard.
Yeah.
I think deep down, I knew in my intuition that there's some relationships I had I couldn't carry with me into my next season of healing and growth, because they were only going to perceive me as the version of me that they've known, and only going to keep me in that box. Every time, every interaction, every conversation. I allowed certain people to talk to me a particular way. You know people for 10 years, right? You allow people to talk about your dreams a particular way, and they don't see future you.
Right.
They can't hold future you. So sometimes, like, when you're walking on this path, you need to let go of some relationships for a time, in order to actually walk it in the healthiest space.
Man. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. I tell Black men, when you heal, we talk about this on the webinar, but I'm going to give them some webinar game right now. When you start healing, what ends up happening, what you described, is you and your friends are kind of like right here. And you start healing, you start learning something, and then you're like, okay, boom. But because your friends are just like, I'm good, they stay there. And then you start boom, boom, boom. And it's not to say you're better than them. That's not what we're saying.
Exactly.
It's just that you elevate to a certain level of consciousness, because it's inevitable as you start to heal. And you start realizing, like, damn, hold up. That shit we used to do, that ain't actually cool. Like, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to sit around talking about people all day and like, I don't want to sit around talking about middle school and high school all day. I don't want to just do nothing on the weekends. I actually want to do some stuff. I may want to go out and like do some cool, like some healthy stuff. Like I may want to go vibe and chill by myself. Like I don't think I actually want to be around these dudes as much as I was because every time I'm around them now, they reminded me about some of the stuff that I actually don't want to talk about. Like I don't want to talk about some of the stuff that happened back then. Actually, that version of me is not a healthy version. Like that stuff that I used to do, not cool anymore. Or the stuff that they want to do, I don't find cool anymore. And so you start dealing with the difficulty of, damn, am I fake? Am I bougie for like, am I bougie for like not wanting to be around these dudes that I've known for like 20 years of my life? It's a real, like, we don't talk about this with healing enough. It's a real issue because it feels like you're growing, but now you're even more alone than you were before you started healing.
Exactly.
And that's why I wanted you to break that down because I dealt with that. Like,
me too.
I started healing and I was like, fuck, I don't want to be around these dudes, bro. Like, I actually have no desire to be around them and I feel fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like,
come on.
You know what I'm saying? Or I feel like they're going to perceive me like I'm thinking I'm better than them, but that's not what it is. It's just like, yo, I don't want to deal with this. Or I'll get around people and I'm like, yo, this is insecurity. Like, and this is insecurity disguised in jokes, but it's like, you're insulting me. You get what I'm saying? Oh, fuck no, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I literally had, oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about all these things I had. There was one time I went and hung out with this particular group of friends. And I love them to death, so I'm going to preface it with that. I love them to death. I hung out with this particular group of friends, and after I hung out with them, my therapy session was about everything that happened during that session, like during me hanging out with them. And I realized, like, bro, I literally had to have a 60-minute therapy session just to unpack the trauma I experienced when hanging out with this group of friends. And you know what my therapist told me?
What?
She said, you may have a toxic relationship with your friends. You may have an unhealthy relationship with your friends. And it reminds me of when people are in relationships with abusive partners and they refuse to leave. You know what I'm saying?
So much time has passed.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're not switching up. You're switching up. You allowed this for so long, though.
Yeah.
Now you're changing. Yeah. And now you're expecting everybody to change with you like that. And that's why it becomes difficult that you gotta go it alone. Like some relationships, it's like, damn, like, you know? And you can, of course, ask people to change and set new boundaries. You can go that route. But I felt like on my journey, it was so fresh.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't solid and grounded in it yet. So I really did have to do it alone, like, and walk alone without a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it hurt. It hurt, but it hurts more to stay.
No, absolutely. Because trust me, I tried it. I was like, nah, I'm good. Let me see. Go back 2 weeks again. I'm like, oh, nah.
And you see how your therapist brought awareness to how you were feeling. And then the next interaction, you're going into it with that awareness.
Right.
And then you're going into it. Now you have to hold accountability.
Right.
Because now you're aware.
Right.
And now you can either change or you can continue the pattern. And that's what I love about therapy is that they recognize the patterns that sometimes we don't see ourselves.
Right. Have I ever told you the 3 A's? I don't think I've told you. You just mentioned 2 of them. When you're healing, I say there's 3 A's. There's awareness. You become aware of the problem, right? That's what first happens. Then there's accountability. Now you're accountable to do something because you're aware of it. You now are accountable to do something because you're aware of it, right? Then there's action. That's the 3rd A. You take the action to actually do something and improve your situation. What ends up happening with a lot of people is there's either a lack of awareness, which is why a lot of people get stuck in the same patterns, or they get to the awareness, but they get stuck in the accountability because they're like, damn, I don't know if I actually want to do what I need to do. So they don't take the action.
And then you start being fake.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Then you start being fake.
Then you start being fake.
You're being fake to the people around you, but you're also being fake to yourself because you're not being true to what you know you need to do to improve.
And notice how we both been on different healing journeys. We did not have this conversation before this. I have not talked to him since the last interview real.
Right.
And we both had that same process of healing, of recognizing, and of taking action to make our lives different. And look where we at, sitting here having this conversation.
No, it's so crazy. It is so crazy.
Proven pattern of success.
No. Say it again. Please break it down. And break down what that is too, because a lot of people don't know what that is. What a pattern of success is. So if you can please break that down for people.
Honestly, it just came to me.
Oh, did it? Okay.
But as I was saying it, I just meant like, we're talking about pattern recognition, right? You know? And so I am now aware of my own patterns and I'm fixing them and I'm listening to other successful people who are energetically where I want to be because it's not all about money, right? You know? And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is how we have to move. This is how I have to move. This is how they're successful in the areas that I want to be in their life. I don't have anybody else in my life who's successful for where I want to be, but that person is. And this is what they're telling me is the pattern proven success model.
Yeah. Where I was going, you just explained it. And I want to add on to that, right? Like when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of interviews of like different successful people. And I would listen to what they were saying. And I noticed, like what you said, there's a pattern, right? There's a behavior, there's a certain environment. There's things that all successful people do. And what I realized with the amount of interviews that I watched is that there's always this unrelenting belief in themselves. That's one. But then also people would always mention God. I was like, they were like, yeah, but you know, none of this would happen without God.
God is always in the room.
You know what I'm saying? And we always just skip over that. We hear everything else, like the success story and like, oh my God, they have this and that, da-da-da-da. And then at the end, when they talk about, but none of this will happen without God, we all, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, right?
What's that woman's basketball coach? She was talking about God and when she won the game.
Yeah, no, I don't remember her name.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She could not shut up about God. She was, and then they had the basketball players in the background dancing, doing the dance, and it's the truth without him.
No, seriously, and like what I'm trying to say with that is like, if you just take time to like really study, and I mean study, like yo, if you like Kevin Hart or you like Kai Cenat, who's, you know, the streamer, whoever it is, if you just study what it is that they talk about, what it is that they do, how they move, you will notice that there are patterns. And you don't have to listen like, this is to whoever's watching, listening. You don't have to listen to what Kizzle's saying. You don't got to listen to Nicole. Go study the people that you want to be like, right? Or that you're inspired by. Go look at what their habits are. Go look at what their patterns are. And you'll see like there are certain things that highly successful people do that you're not doing. And when you start implementing those things, it will put you in a position to be more successful. You may not get to the level of success that they are, but you will be more successful than where you are today. And I think that's what we're all striving for. And I think it's so important. Like, that's why I was telling you to break it down, because there is a pattern. That's why when we talk and we've been through the healing, we have similarities because we've been through the same, like we've been through healing. While it may be different routes, we have similarities. Like you probably have not the most opposite route from me, but you have a very different upbringing than me, like completely different, right? Like we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
I came from, my dad's Ghanaian, my mom is Caribbean, right? Like I grew up basically in this crib all the time. I went to school with Black people. I didn't go to any boarding school. The only time I ever was out of the house was when I dormed in college. That was the first time I did anything. And I went to a HBCU.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like
yeah.
everything for me was like all black, you know what I'm saying? You dealt with like a diverse mix of so many different things. So for us to have
always moved around.
Right.
Never was in the same house. Yeah.
Exactly.
Completely opposite.
Exactly. So for us to have similarities and the amount of similarities that we've had in our healing journeys and all the different things that have happened, it goes to show there is a pattern regardless of the background. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna rest my case there. I think I've made my point. Go study whoever you want to study, bro. That's how you get to where you want to get to. And this is why I always talk to black men about being proactive and planning. Because when you plan, you can start to see and identify who is where I would like to be. Okay, cool. That's who I need to study. You know what I'm saying?
And then study yourself.
Right.
Because there are patterns already existing in your life that you were unaware of.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Nicole, we cooking. We are cooking,
you know
bro.
What I'm saying?
We are cooking. Good Lord, this is a good episode, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a lot to really outdo this episode.
Might need a part 1, part 2.
I ain't gonna lie, I might. And I really might do that though. I really might have to do that. That might be
fire.
Yeah,
you know?
I really might have to do that. Because we were talking, I don't even know how much time it's been, but it's probably been close to 2 hours, Nicole.
Wow.
And we were talking before, and you were like, you think we could talk for 2 hours? I was like, yeah, we can. I know we can, because when I write the script out, like normally like a 1 hour episode for me, I'll do 5 questions. And you know how many questions I had on the script when I sent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of questions. So I was like, yeah, we could definitely talk for 2 hours. So I'm grateful. I appreciate having conversations like this. This is why I like doing the podcast, because it's like, as much as it's for the audience, it's really for me. I get to like express, release, but then also receive. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a win-win-win. So yeah, I just appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Like, I've been receiving as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one thing that you said about brand deals and, not forcing, I think I needed to hear that. And I felt like sometimes God uses other people to talk to you.
No, seriously. I think, especially around that, like I tell Maria all the time, we're not following up with too many people, especially with the business. We do not I'm not following up with you, because if I have to follow up with you, it is not a priority for you. You get what I'm saying? It's just not. It's true. Like truly, what have you ever needed a follow up on that you prioritized? Tell me. Like when I'll give a perfect example, right? Like, you ever had that feeling when you about to have the first day of school or whatever, or you have some event coming up and you lay out your clothes and everything, you like really prepare. You're like, yo, do you need a follow up on that? Do you need somebody to text you like, yo, make sure no, you're prepared. You're ready to go. That's the energy that I want when people are working with us and doing stuff with us. I don't want people to have any other energy outside of that. And when you do the follow up, you automatically create that. You create the environment where someone needs to be reminded of your importance. Why should I remind you of my importance? I'm not doing that anymore. Because then what ends up happening is now I create more opportunities for people that I wasn't even supposed to be aligned with anyway. I don't got time.
That part. I don't have
and
I think you just gave me an alley-oop for my affirmation to close out the show.
Please. Nicole, yo, bruh. I'm done. Go ahead, Nicole.
We vibing.
Go ahead. We in sync right now. I was like, all right, next question. Let me see. I need to get her to give. Go ahead, Nicole. I'm good. Go ahead, please.
This was an incredible episode, Kizzle. Just thank you so much for having me. And to the Black man watching, I just wanted to let you know that you are so deserving to feel like a priority. I want you to be your own priority. I want you to prioritize your healing, your wellness, and your energy. I want you to prioritize how you feel. I want you to prioritize who is around you, your life, everything, because I want you to have the life of your dreams. Black man, I love you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode with Express Yourself, Black man. And I definitely will be back anytime. And I love you. Bye.
Okay. With that being said, Nicole, please tell people how they can find you. Thank you so much for this episode. It's been a classic. Anything that you have coming up, how they can support, all that good stuff.
Anything I have coming up, I have a couple brand partnerships coming up.
Okay.
You can support me by just commenting and let me know what you think. I have a beard oil company, a fragrance company I'm working with, and these are all Black male-owned businesses. And I carefully handpicked some incredible Black men to partner with. And if there's anything that you want to see me, do or talk about, let me know and just engage with me and talk to me. I love this community so much. I feel so blessed and so filled up to be in y'all's presence. And I just want to be a good steward of this platform, of this relationship that we have. And so we can grow together and our community can heal. You can find me at Affirmations for Black Men on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or my personal IG, Nicole J. Glass.
Nicole, thank you so much. With that being said, we are done. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you are planning an event or you are part of your organization's Black employee group and you are interested in having dope Black mental health professionals or myself come in and do a speaking engagement or a workshop or a keynote address or a panel, please click the link in our bio on Instagram or TikTok, scroll down and click book us for speaking and brand deals and fill out the form available on our website. Once you fill out the form, one of our team members will get back to you about how we can collaborate and create something dope for your organization. This is an unparalleled opportunity. We are currently the largest Black men's mental health platform, and we have a few slots available for our calendar year, and we would love to partner with you to create something dope for your organization if it makes sense for both parties, right? So go to the link in our bio, scroll down, click book us for speaking and brand deals, and fill out that form. If you're not on Instagram, the link should be linked in our description of this episode. And it is also on our website. If you go to expressyourselfblackman.com/speaking-brand-deals. That's expressyourselfblackman.com/speaking-brand-deals. If you are looking for a therapist, a Black therapist, and you've had a hard time finding one, you jump from therapist to therapist, or you just don't know how to find a therapist, we are teaching a free webinar. It's completely free, taking you from not knowing how to find a therapist, not knowing where to search for therapists, struggling with finding good therapists for you, not knowing what to look for in therapists, teaching you all of those different things, and also giving you the opportunity at the end of the webinar to be connected with one of our safe haven healers who are Black mental health professionals so that you do not have to go through the struggles of finding a Black therapist alone anymore, right? So if you're interested in that, you want to get connected with a Black mental health professional at the end of the webinar, or you just want to learn how to find a Black therapist by yourself, you can sign up for the free webinar. It's linked in our bio on Instagram and TikTok. You just click that free webinar link once you click the link in our bio and fill out the form. You can also find it on our website at expressyourselfblackman.com/links and fill out the form there for our next webinar session. If you're not interested in any of that, right, but you know someone that may be interested in it, all we ask is that you please share it. If you want some of the merch that we show on the platform all the time, that we're wearing on the platform all the time, you can shop it at shop.expressyourselfblackman.com. And once again, we just want to say thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please, if you are on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, please leave a review. It helps us out greatly. Thank you so much for your support. We're wishing you nothing but the best and sending you and your family and your loved ones love and light. Peace.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on, somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for.